I want to start today with a question. And this is a question that's being asked in boardrooms, PE firms, every CEO conversation that I'm having right now. And it is, does this executive understand what's happening? Not do they have the right background? Not do they have the right pedigree? Not do they have the right keyword on their LinkedIn profile? Do they understand what's happening? And because something's happening, and most senior executives either don't know it yet or they know it and they're hoping it doesn't apply to them. It applies to all of us, and including me, including you. So today, I want to have the most honest, most specific, most useful conversation that I know how to have about really what it means to become an AI augmented executive and what that actually looks like in practice, why that matters really more than almost anything else you could work on right now, and what separates executives who are using this moment to pull even further ahead from the ones who are quietly losing ground and don't realize it yet. This is not a conversation about tools, it's a conversation about relevance. Let's go. So I've been doing this work for over a decade and I've seen boom markets, I've seen recessions, COVID, and I've watched the executive opportunity market go through more disruption in the last 3 years than it went through in the previous 15. And I want to be direct with you about what I'm seeing right now because I think most people in the industry are not saying this clearly enough. The old playbook is dead, not struggling, not less effective, dead. So the executives running a 2019 playbook in 2026 is not just falling behind, they're invisible in the market. They think they're competing in. And so here's the brutal math. Before AI, roughly 2% of applications at the executive level ever got a call. 2%. That number was already devastating, and AI has made it catastrophically worse because AI has allowed thousands of executives to flood every posted role within hours with optimized resumes, tailored outreach, polished profiles produced at scale in seconds. So at the same time, companies doing the hiring are using AI on their end to screen those applications. So it's robot to robot, algorithm to algorithm. Your 30 million P&L, your decade of operational transformational experience, your ability to walk into a room and read what's happening before anyone says a word, none of that translates through an ATS. None of it survives the first filter. But here's the part I need you to sit with, because this is the part that actually changes everything. 80% of executive opportunities are never posted. 80%, they don't exist on a board. They don't go through a recruiter. They live in relationships. They get created in a conversation between two leaders who trust each other. They get co-designed between a founder and an operator who recognize something in each other. They happen at dinner. They happen in a thread between people who have real relationship capital with each other. So here's what's actually going on. The posted market, the 2% already terrible game has been made even more brutal by AI. And the 80%, which has always been where the real opportunities have really live, is completely untouched by volume. It's powered entirely by trust and relationships. That means the executives who are doubling down on applications, optimization, volume strategies, they're fighting harder for less. And the executives who understand that the game has moved to relationships, to visibility, to being known as the real answer to a real problem before anyone has to go looking. Those executives are in a completely different market. The market did not die, it evolved. And the executives who evolve with it are writing the next decade of their career on their terms. So evolve or expire. There is no neutral position. The choice is to evolve, is the choice not to evolve is itself a choice, and the market will price it. So there's a second force at work right now that I want to name because I think it's the most important dynamic of 2026. And nobody's talking about it clearly. We're in a trust recession. Here's what that means. AI has created an integrity crisis. Buyers at the senior level, executive level, the people who are going to bring you into their company, their board, their equity structure, those people are buyers. They cannot tell what's real anymore. I hear this all the time from C-suite that I speak to. Fake resumes, fake credentials, fake endorsements, fake results, AI polished profiles that look impressive and turn out to be hollow, reference checks that come back glowing and reveal nothing about whether this person can actually deliver. So when buyers cannot tell what is real, they get protective. They get slow. They get deeply skeptical. They demand proof, not polish. They want to see how you operate. They want to try before they buy. They're not going to risk $300,000 decision on a talking head who cannot demonstrate value immediately. And this is especially true in PE-backed environments, in founder-led companies, and any board conversation. The people making these decisions are pattern matching on trust signals constantly, and they're filtering out anyone who feels manufactured. So here's the counterintuitive part. The trust recession is not a threat to executives who are running the methodology I'm going to describe today. It's the greatest competitive advantage. So when the market is flooded with polish, the executive who walks in with substance stands out immediately. When everyone's profile sounds rehearsed, the executive who has genuine, specific, deeply informed point of view on the problem in that room gets the deal. So trust is the new currency, and the executives who have built authentic relationships, who have a point of view on what's happening in their market, who show up as a trusted human in the rooms where decisions are made, those executives are winning right now in ways that weren't possible in a functioning market. So the trust recession is not a storm to survive. For the right executive, it is the clearest opening the market has created in years. So the question is, are you positioned to walk through it? Now, I want to be really specific here because I want to talk about what an AI augmented executive actually looks like. So I want to get really granular because this is where most conversations about AI and executive relevance go wrong. When people say AI literacy, they usually mean one of two things. They either mean learning to use ChatGPT for tasks, or they mean being able to have a general conversation about AI at a dinner party without sounding completely out of touch. Neither of those are what I'm talking about. An AI augmented executive is something different. It's not about tools, it's about posture. So let me tell you what that actually looks like. I'm speaking to hundreds of executives every week, and I've been watching this play out in real time in real conversations for the past 2 years. And what I'm seeing is clear and growing, and it's a growing divide. On one side, you have executives who are using AI as a convenience layer. They're using it to draft emails faster, to summarize documents, to help them prep for a meeting. And that's fine, that's efficient. But does that change how the market sees them? And it does not change the conversations they get invited to. So it does not change their positioning or the perception in the market. On the other side, you have a smaller group of executives who are using AI to develop genuinely deeply informed point of view on what AI is doing to their industry, their function, their buyers' businesses. They're using it to accelerate their thinking, not just their tasks. They're showing up in conversations with informed opinions on what is real, what's hype, and what's coming next. They can sit in a boardroom where AI is on the agenda and actually contribute as a peer, not just as a passenger. So the second group is getting pulled into rooms the first group does not know exists. And one of my clients, Cedric, he spent 30 years in one of the most recognizable enterprises in the world, Coca-Cola and McDonald's. And when his chapter inside those organizations ended, he had to decide who he was in the market that no longer really had built a pipeline for him. One of the first things we worked on was building an AI informed point of view on operational excellence in large, complex enterprises. But that was where his expertise lived. He did not become a technologist. He became an executive who could sit across from a CEO and say with specificity what AI was doing to operations, supply chain, and workforce strategy in the kind of organizations they were both talking about. He had real opinions grounded in his actual experience. That made him sharper than 90% of the senior ops executives he was competing with, who were either avoiding the AI conversation entirely or parroting the same surface level talking points everyone else was using. So Cedric launched his consulting practice quickly because he showed up as someone who understood the landscape, not just the history. And that's what AI literacy actually looks like, not using the tools, carrying the posture. Now, let me make this even more concrete because there's three things that define an AI augmented executive at the level I'm describing. First is a function specific AI point of view, not a general of AI opinion, a specific informed perspective on what AI is doing to the problems your buyers are trying to solve in your function right now. So if you're a CFO, that means knowing exactly how AI is changing financial modeling, forecasting, audit, talent in the finance function. If you're a CHRO, that means having a real position on AI, recruiting, performance management, and workforce planning. If you're a CRO, that means knowing what AI is doing to the front end of sales, to buying behavior, to the conversion path. The executives who can walk into any room and immediately contribute that point of view are the ones getting called, not applied to, called. The second is a strategic relationship practice that does not stop. This is the thing I see most executives fall down on. They build the relationships when they need them, and then they let them go quiet when they don't. And that's the wrong model entirely. Relationship capital is the only career asset that genuinely compounds. Skills get commoditized, industries shift, companies fail. Relationship built today can produce an engagement next quarter, an equity partnership next year, and a board seat in 3 years. The same relationship, the pipeline is destination agnostic. So the consistent connection strategy that we talk about at Career Evolved in the Career Evolved method, it's not a networking tactic, it's a permanent practice. So 5 value first touches a week, not pitches, not asks, a note on something relevant, an introduction that serves them, a thought they would find useful. That's it. Small, consistent, run with the seriousness of a quarterly business commitment compounds into the kind of relationship capital most executives don't realize they're sitting on. So the third, continuous visibility as a thought leader in your domain. Continuous visibility is really, here's the reality. The trust recession means buyers are not going to trust you because your profile says you're credible. They're going to trust you because they've seen you think, they've read your perspective on a real problem, they've watched you operate in a room, even a digital one. They've felt before they've ever met you that this person knows what they're talking about. And consistent thought leadership in your domain is not a nice to have in this market. It's the mechanism by which trust gets built at scale. It's how premium executives stop waiting to be discovered and start getting pulled toward. One executive I work with put it perfectly. She was describing the shift she made from background first positioning to solution first positioning. She stopped leading with, all she had done and started leading with the problem she solves. And immediately the nature of the conversations changed. Not longer, not louder, different. People stopped evaluating her and started consulting her. And this is what visibility does when it's built on the right foundation. Okay, so let's talk about the permanent practice problem. Now, I want to be honest with you about something I see happen all the time, including with executives who have gone through the career evolved method and had real breakthroughs. The methodology works, the outcomes are real. Executives who run the full system get into the hidden market, they build relationship capital, they position themselves as premium products, and they land what they came here for, sometimes even faster than they thought possible. And then life happens. So the consistent connection strategy slows down, AI literacy habit gets deprioritized, the thought leadership that was gaining momentum goes quiet for 2 weeks and then four and then indefinitely. So the positioning was sharp and specific, it starts to drift. Not because they stopped caring, not because the methodology stopped working, because there was no infrastructure running the practice in the background. And here's the hard truth I say to every executive I work with. The methodology that got you here is the methodology that keeps you here. So stop running it, and the breakthrough you just produced will quietly age out of relevance over the next 24 to 36 months. And the market is not going to pause while you sign your offer. AI is not stopping. Your buyers are not freezing. The competitive landscape is moving constantly. And the executive who stops moving with it is not staying still, they're falling behind in slow motion, often without realizing it until the next transition arrives and the tools they used last time no longer work in the same way. The permanent practice is not optional. It's the difference between a single good outcome and a career that compounds across decades. So, here I want to be real about the execution gap. Most executives know they should be doing this. Most of them want to. And most of them struggle to do it consistently, not because they lack the discipline, but because they lack the infrastructure. So, building thought leadership content takes time. Staying in tune with what is going on with AI across your function and industry requires a systematic approach, not a once a week scroll through LinkedIn. The executives who are winning this practice are not the ones with more willpower. They're the ones who have built systems that make the practice sustainable, tools that really extend their capacity without replacing their judgment, infrastructure that keeps the engine running when the calendar is full. That is the gap I've been thinking about for a long time, and it's the gap I've been building towards. So here's what's coming in July, in a couple weeks. I want to give you a preview of something I've been working on that I am genuinely more excited about than almost anything I've built since the original methodology. So, in mid July, we're launching Evolved Intelligence. And I'll do a full episode when this gets closer, but I want to give you the essence of it now because it connects directly to everything I talk about. And so, Evolved Intelligence is the infrastructure that keeps the career evolved method running permanently. It's not a course, it's not a SaaS subscription, it's not a LinkedIn optimization tool. It's the permanent practice built out, tooled out, and running in real time. The way I describe this is the career evolved method gives you the system, evolved intelligence gives you the engine to run it. So, three core tools are being built and delivered in the first launch. And the first 90 days, you can master these tools and really elevate your positioning and game as an executive. Each one is engineered specifically for the AI augmented executive I've been describing today. The first is the voice agent. So your AI powered personal brand partner trained on your voice, your story, your positioning, the thing that takes thought leadership from something you intend to do that actually gets done consistently at the level the market expects from someone at your operating level. The second is the positioning engine, precision targeting for any opportunity, any destination, whether it's role, fractional equity, advisory board, outcome influencing decision makers on any decision, really, but it's not a template. It's a living tool that adapts your positioning to the specific problem you solve for the specific buyer in front of you every time. And the third is the intelligence feed. So your curated market pulse, the industry signals, trend shifts across your function, across your market, systematized and delivered. And this is in the AI literacy habit built into the infrastructure. So instead of hoping you'll carve out 30 minutes a day of it, it's waiting for you. Now, I want to say why I believe these tools are genuinely different from anything else in this space, because I have a CTO, Francisco, who I believe is one of the most talented AI architects working in this domain. He's not building generic prompts. He's not repackaging ChatGPT with a different interface. He's building actual custom AI models trained on your specific positioning, voice, specific function, and market. And we've got market data from 98% of public companies. We've got earnings calls transcripts, live data on who's doing acquisitions, layoffs, who's doing mergers. There's so much intelligence happening that whether you're seeking to create opportunity as a consultant, as an executive, you want to keep track of your competition, or if you're looking to build consulting or board or advisory opportunities, knowing how to position around events and key data points is going to be critical. And so taking Francisco's knowledge coming from BlackRock, one of the largest financial advising institutions that runs the majority of the world's buy side in the stock market, and bringing that level of intelligence to executive positioning is another level that I haven't seen anyone else do. And I'm so excited to give this level of fuel and toolbox. It's beyond anything that exists in the market right now. So the evolved intelligence founding member window opens for existing career evolved method clients soon. So if you're in that group, you're going to hear from us directly before the general launch. But if you're not in that group yet, stay close. We will open the full list in mid-July, and more on that soon, and a dedicated episode coming. So before I close, what to do this week? I want to give you something concrete, not motivation, not inspiration, a practical prescription. So if you take nothing else from today, take these three things and put them on your calendar. One, develop one function-specific AI point of view, not a general opinion. Pick the problem your buyers are most actively trying to solve right now in your domain. Spend 30 minutes going deep on what AI is doing to that specific problem. Form an actual position, not AI is changing everything. Something specific enough that you could defend it in a CEO conversation. That's your starting point. 2, make 5 genuine relationship touches this week. Not pitches, not applications, touches. A note to someone whose work you respect. A relevant article navigating a challenge that you've been thinking about. An introduction you've been meaning to make. 5 this week. The consistent connection strategy is not complicated. It's just uncommon. Do the uncommon thing. 3, publish one piece of thought leadership. One LinkedIn post, one short article, one perspective grounded in your actual experience, in your actual point of view on what's happening in your market. Not a polished, real, specific in your voice. The trust recession means the market is starving for executives who will just say the true thing clearly. Be that executive. That is the whole prescription. It's not heavy, but it compounds. So the executives running these 3 practices consistently are in a different market than the ones who are not. Same credentials, different trajectory. The gap between them is rarely measured in thousands. It's measured in hundreds of thousands, in equity points, in the doors that open or stay closed over the next decade. So here's what I know. The market has been rewritten. That is not a threat for the executives willing to evolve. It's the best opening in years. The trust recession has created a premium on authenticity, substance, genuine relationship capital. That's exactly what the methodology is built to produce. And the gap between having a great system and running a great practice permanently, that is the gap we're closing in July. So if today's episode was useful, share it with one executive who needs to hear it, the executives in your network who are still running on the old playbook. and are not doing it not because they lack talent. They're doing it because no one has told them clearly enough that the game has changed. Tell them. And I will see you in the next episode.